All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, March 8th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here, a little bit of a dip. So we did get all the way up to just under 5,200 on the SPX, and you're going to see, look at that, perfect kiss of that. I mean, look at today's range. Like, that's the trend line, right? Both of them. And we closed essentially right on that. You know, you can argue, oh, we closed below it. I wouldn't make too much out of, like, what is this, like 2 points or something, you know, below it. I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. But it is a tightening range and definitely needs to be respected here. Was their distribution volume not on the spiders? So only 84 million shares. It's not terrible volume, but it's not over 100 million. So not really enough to get me too concerned. I will say, though, if you look at the semis, which have been the leaders, take a look at NVDA. That is distribution volume. That is certainly enough to be considered. And the price action here, a wide range engulfing candle. The one thing I want to just caution everybody with is I'm already seeing a lot of OPEX games. Next week is going to be Quad Witch. So quarterly OPEX. And I've already seen, again, this is just an anecdote, but I've seen a lot of people saying on Twitter and so on, I'm buying puts, I'm buying NVIDIA puts, this, that, and the other thing. Usually that first, just going to say it, you know, usually that first distribution is kind of the fake one. It usually kind of happens in 2 or 3 phases. Again, case in point, I've shown you this before, but look at it again. You get this big move, big reversal candle, and then another pop, and then another reversal candle, and then that's the top. Again, that doesn't mean it has to play out again, but just be aware, we got quarterly OPEX next week. They could take this back up to 1,000 and stop everybody out. Every piker in the world's going to have their stop above 974.01, right? So again, we talked about this yesterday. NVIDIA, SMH, starting to get parabolic, and what happens when things get parabolic? They're on borrowed time, and they can come in very sharply. Look at the SMH here. That is definitely distribution volume. So you got to go back to the October lows of 2022. Okay, when you see that, that's it. That's, you know, we have to go back to a historic level, right? It's definitely telling us something. So take that for however you want. But again, just be careful here. You don't have to get the first 2%, or you don't have to get the first 20 cents off the high. You can wait for the lower high. Usually the first leg of the bear is the weakest one. And again, a lot of the time they will try to curl this back up and stop people out. Because a lot of people see this and they get excited. They say, oh, here we go. We're going to crash to 150. And they all FOMO into puts, and those puts get yanked back the other way. So again, just something to keep in mind. Right now, technically, still, just so you know, no real technical damage on the spiders or the SPX. Below 5,100 would be a little problematic. But again, you guys know my line in the sand right now is like 50, 60, 50, 55. Through that with volume would definitely do some damage to this chart. And I mean, we all know it's overdue, right? But again, I just want to make sure nobody, if it's the wrong time, I mean, who says we don't go back to 53? I've seen rising wedges break bull in bull markets before, so don't think it can't. Generally, my bias is going to be that it breaks bear, but just be aware of that. Seen a lot of bear victory laps at the lows today, and I tweeted jokingly, but half not really serious, that we would pop back to 5150 by the close. We didn't by the close, but we did do it by the middle of the day. So just be careful. A lot of bears getting excited already. We have CPI. If we go down into CPI, who knows? They could pop it back up like they have the last 4 or 5 data events, right? So again, just be aware of that. But nice reversal here on a Friday. Weekly close, that is a doji. My members who've taken the cycle course know exactly what I'm looking at. So there's something to be said there. Kind of expecting a cycle date here coming up shortly. So again, lots of things converging here, but again, quarterly OPEX, I think the market holds up until then. I think semis mostly hold up until then. But again, let's get over to the IWM. This was down just 13 cents today. So that's 6 basis points. Dow down 12, S&P down 60, Q's down 1.4. What's another sector that's like the IWM? ARC, not really a sector, but ETF, up 1% in a down tape. I believe XBI was green as well, up 16 cents in a down tape. Telling you guys there's rotation in this market, so pay attention to that. I don't think that a lot of people are like, oh, this is it, we're gonna we're gonna break this and it's gonna be a crash of Volmageddon. I mean, anything can happen, especially when you go parabolic, but I think that right now, preliminary, I'm looking for like weekly higher lows, to be honest. So that could change, but based on the rotation that I'm seeing, that's kind of my thought process right here. So in any case, we'll leave it at that for now. Qs didn't quite get to 450. We were looking for that. Did make a new all-time high intraday. Didn't quite get to 450. You did have an engulfing candle there on the daily, but I would say it's more minor because it's not like yesterday's. It's not like it was at an extreme high like NVDA or the SMH, but still an engulfing candle with a significant uptick in volume. So again, tech showing its weakness here. Again, there's the weekly. Kind of reversed a lot of that move from last week by the close, and we definitely have violated the hell out of this trend line too. So this is going to be a me too here for this trend line pretty soon. Declining RSI, you guys get the idea. We talked about that before. But again, no real technical damage on the spiders yet. Anyway, IWM 210. So we've been looking for that. It got there, pulled back. I wouldn't make much more out of it than that. It is holding up relative to the rest of the market, which is not bearish. It is a little, it's into a lot of resistance. I mean, a lot of resistance here. A lot. Look at this. It took you a year to break down from this level. You back tested it once. Now you're doing it again. There's a lot of resistance up here. So it's going to need to consolidate or pull back or let those moving averages catch up if it's going to get through that. But it's definitely acting better than the rest of the market, believe it or not. Dow here, lower highs, lower lows. Be aware of that. Dow's price cap weighted, but it is what it is there. SMH, we talked about, big outside move down, engulfing candle. By the way, what kind of candle's that on the weekly? Everybody should know that. IGV, lower highs, careful with IGV. We could even draw a little wedge in here. Watch that. But lower highs there, still holding up. Don't want to see this pivot taken out on a weekly close. All right, Dow Transports, a little reversal here, but again, a sector that I still like. I still like this weekly pattern. You close below 15.2 on a weekly, then I'll shut up about it, but it's still holding up well, and I don't really see any issues with it. Again, another sector I think is getting some rotation. All right, let's get over to interest rates here. Oh, I got this chart all messed up here. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. There's the 2-year. We'll start off with, as always, it's holding this green bar. So notably, rates are kind of getting walked down here. There's the 210 spread. It is uptaking a little bit. 3-month 10-year still can't get out of its own way. But 2 is still holding up, holding the green bar. I think rates will bounce next week, specifically on the long end. There's that trend line there with the 30-year. Again, we're walking into CPI with the dollar index. By the way, the dollar bounced exactly where we thought it would. We hit that trend line again. We hit 102.50, and then we hit basically the 618. I mean, it's about as close as you can get. So again, I think that positive correlation will, even if CPI comes in cold, which I can't imagine how it's going to not come in hot. Right, look at oil, guys. Like higher lows, higher highs. Right, like it's got to be. There's no way it's going to be colder unless they. I mean, they cook the books all the time, but they'll really have to hire a chef for that one. But in any case, I would think yields get a bounce here. If they take out the highs, that would be problematic, obviously, for the stock market. Really, it's about the 2-year though, and that still has. The Fed still has quite a bit of wiggle room with that. But I do think rates are due for a bounce here. XHB was red, so I did call the market police. They didn't get back to me, but you did have an engulfing candle right there. Minor uptick in volume. I won't make much out of it right now. You did finish the week with a doji, so just be aware of that. Could be a sign of indecision, equal buyers to sellers after a large run. VNQ, again, rotation to beaten down, hated sectors. It's acting well. Up 1% in a down tape. XLF up 7 cents. So again, here's kind of definitely a big point for the bulls. If this was down today significantly, I would be a lot more bearish. But this is still holding up, and so is KRE. So like up 4 cents, yeah, that's it. Only 4 cents, but the spiders are down 60. So that's a big positive for bulls right here. That's something that you can look at over the weekend and say that's a positive. KBE down 2 cents, it's flat, no big deal. Broker dealers were green as well. Again, up 33 basis points. It did come off the highs though, so definitely a point for the bulls to see financials holding up. They start to slip and semi-slip, it could be really problematic. Oil backed off today, down 1.3. I think this needs another week if it's going to break out. I'm just going to leave it there. XLE was still strong though, up 35 bips. XOP up 0.5%. OIH down 0.5%, but just overall an inside, kind of hammer looking day, no problems there. CCJ, just engulfing. So look at that. So this is what I say all the time when I mean, you close below that green bar, it's not good, right? You expect a lower high now because that's a failure. And we didn't even get to my 45 target. We got to 44 and change. Engulfing reversal. I think this is vulnerable down to 37.50. So I'd be careful with uranium here. URNM though is still holding up. Still holding that green bar. The J2. So rotation in that sector, really not bearish. Might just need to do weekly consolidation. Nat gas getting a little bounce here, but basically ending up flat. It needs a higher low here, otherwise it's vulnerable to new lows. But it had a pretty good rejection yesterday at 2, and it's just hanging on to that 20 moving average. We'll see what it does on Sunday night. Again, they love to mess with this thing during that Globex Open, so we'll see. It's kind of at an inflection point here. Dollar we talked about. I assumed this would bounce today after the NFP. That's exactly what happened. We flushed in the morning. Take a look at that, and then rallied all the way back. So dollar a little beaten down into a volatility event. Usually that's going to mean that you're going to go the other way, really with any asset, not just the dollar. And that's kind of what happened. Next level here, 103. 75, 104. If it continues to break down, which I really would be shocked if it did that, 102 is the next level. Gold continuing higher here, up on volume. It did come off the highs though, so it is getting a little short-term overbought. But there's the RSI, but it's on breakout, so it's going to do that. I did come up with a level on this. It's 22.75. That doesn't mean we go straight there in a straight line. That just means that would be an objective. Could it flag? Could it pull back down here first? It's possible. Again, OPEX week usually is not very kind to precious metals. And what better way to really break their hearts than to, just pull the rug here. I think it's holding up well though. I wouldn't short it. It looks you got good volume. It looks like an impulsive move, but it could pull back still. So just be aware of that. Silver here, just kind of a spinning top day. Nothing terrible there. I think this is a little bit different. So right now it looks like the economy is probably weakening, and I think gold is sniffing out intervention. Silver not doing so much, right? Because if the economy's weakening, that's bearish silver. Not bearish, but less so, even with monetary policy changing. But I think this will be a buy, and it'll be a catch-up play in the next couple of months, but we're not quite there yet. But, it's holding up okay. Platinum and palladium, I could say essentially the same thing for. And they're holding up all right now. All right, copper here, testing my last nerve in the trading room today. We did trade it and basically took a break even on it. This is still holding up okay. I still have a buy signal on kind of like the 2 hour time frame, but it just gets a little illiquid after the COMEX close, and was looking for a little bit more of a pop out of this, just didn't quite get there. But in any case, it's holding that trend line for now. We got to bounce off of it earlier this morning, and then it just couldn't hold. I think part of the market swoon here, even you'd see gold came in, that kind of just, it just couldn't hold that bounce that it got earlier. But you know, it's holding up all right. I said 395 level. That's basically where it got. If it consolidates, it can go higher. It's that simple. If it breaks back down, again, 375 is your level there. Coins today, guess what? Bitcoin made a new all-time high. So again, this is why I've been kind of saying, like, don't fight this. Like, I know it's overbought, but that's what it does here. So new all-time high, and it looks like maybe a new all-time closing high or very close to it. It did pull back again very sharply. I think a lot of this, so I was saying in the trading room this morning, I said 5190 on the SPX should be resistance short term, not like major don't go short here, which actually would have worked if we did, but right at the same time was when Bitcoin hit 70,000, and then we dumped out really hard. I think, just my guess, is that kind of spilled over into equities because it happened right around the same time. So I did not expect us to dump that hard on the spiders, but I think this kind of helped with it. But it came off the lows, and look where it's back. Look where it's back to. So no problems. ETH still making new highs. It tested 4K, a lot of stops up there. Doge holding up. Polkadot holding up. Cardano holding up. Solana green. Matic all right. So no problems here in crypto. Overbought on the bigger time frames. Maybe due for some consolidation, but I wouldn't short these. You know, for anything more than a day trade or you know, quick in and out. I'm not even doing that though. All right, so again, good reversal here. Be careful with the semiconductors on both sides. Don't FOMO into puts. You can get, you know, like you can get a lower high, and you know, even like we saw here, like this was a 70. It doesn't look like it, you know, at first glance, but this here was a 75% retrace of the high. So 45.37 to 46.06. It's just going to do this really quick. So it's only 1.5% that you missed here by waiting for that retrace, and you could have gotten another 10 out of it. So you don't have to FOMO in. You know, if you really need to, you got to hit it. You can just put a stop above the high, but be careful. They can take that out. Again, I've seen them do it. I've seen them do it with Tesla. I've seen them do it with NVDA. I've seen them do it with a lot of other names. But right now, market definitely looking top heavy and definitely seeing signs of distribution in the semiconductors. So be careful there, but also seeing signs of rotation into growth and other sectors. So anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys have a great weekend. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all next week.